question, Ben, please, for certainly AIKora Fest viewers who don't know you, is when did you get inspired by artificial intelligence, and what were your early inspirations?
Yeah, I've been interested in AI since I was a young child in the, I guess, late 1960s, early 1970s, even, from watching Neil Armstrong walk on the moon when I was a little baby, and watching Star Trek and Space 1999 and all the very old generation of science fiction, and then plunging into reading science fiction. So the concept was very exciting because it was obvious that as amazing as human beings are in some ways, that we have many shortcomings in our way of thinking, and the idea that you could make AIs that could think better than people, do science better than people, maybe coordinate society better than people, that seemed exciting to me even as like a bright little kid, right? And then the older I got, the more acute the need for really smart AI seemed, and the more feasible the technology seemed. And now we live in a time when things that seemed science fiction only a few years ago are real, right? So I guess in my generation, I'm 53, like in my generation, we got interested in AI through science fiction, because AI was just a little corner of research when I was young. And now obviously it's major industry, right? Whereas I think people say my kids' age getting into AI have a different experience, because it's already big time. It seems like a meaningful career choice or something, whereas it was just it was a crazy vision when I got started with it.
I'd say it's still a bit of a crazy vision, Ben.
Well, it's a bit of a crazy vision, but I mean, you got billions of dollars going into it, and you have leaders of major countries talking about it. So that's a definite change in at least the scale of the craziness, right?
Yeah. So it's taking off like wildfire at the moment, from what I can see, if that's your experience.
Hopefully wildfire is not the optimal metaphor, right? So I mean, there may be some destruction, but we hope it'll be promoting benefit more so.
Well, benefit is what we're all here for tonight. If anybody's interested in and inspired and would like to donate to our cause, please do see the Just Giving link below in the link. And benevolent AI is obviously what you're all about, Ben. So yeah, better analogy than wildfires. Elizabeth, what would you like to ask Ben?
Well, first of all, I'm tickled pink, so I'm wearing pink. Have to say that. But on a serious note, though, first of all, it's a great pleasure to be involved in this great work that you, Janet, are doing, and the AIKora team that's supporting. And I just want to, first of all, say that you're such an inspiration. I'm introducing you now. So you're an AI enthusiast, change agent, and you are driving forward and, doing so much in the field. You have said that you're so excited about, what's going on tonight. You're bringing forward, your knowledge around explainable frameworks, explainability frameworks for regulatory compliance of AI in financial services. And you are also such an influencer in this field, and you're bringing people together tonight as well to actually listen to a greatest person, that I'm so enamored by, to hear what he has to say. So I just wanted to introduce
Thank you. You're very kind.
For doing this. And obviously, yes, I've got loads of questions for Ben. This evening is, it's the highlight, obviously, and I can't wait to, to see and hear what Ben has got in store for us. And I'm sure that I'm not alone in that. But I do want to, before I start asking the questions, I've just got to say, Ben, that Janet has got a massive tech crush on you. So I just want to highlight that. And, you know, now the whole world knows that as well. So.
Techie science crush. It's true. It's true. I used to love David Attenborough, but you've taken over from him in my science affections. Thank you, Elizabeth.
So seriously, now, Ben, would you mind really telling us a little bit about what AGI is? What is the singularity, and why is everyone talking about it?
Sure enough. So yeah, when AI was first conceived in a serious way in the middle of the last century, people thought about AI, you know, as engineering intelligence similar to human intelligence, right? I mean, people thought about making thinking machines that thought like people, which could be like, you know, Mr. Data in the new version of Star Trek, or even like HAL 9000 in Stanley Kubrick's movie, who was more malevolent. But anyway, these were AIs that they were autonomous agents. They were going around in the same world as us, making their own choices, you know, perceiving the world according to their own biases and making social relationships, planning their actions. And, you know, as the AI field evolved, that was harder than the early AI pioneers thought it would be. So the AI field went into making very specialized tools, like an AI for, you know, diagnosing what kind of cancer you have based on blood work and so forth, or an AI for playing chess, or an AI for helping drive a car, or an AI for controlling a guided missile, or an AI for, you know, predicting the direction of a stock market. Some of the applications are interesting, some are kind of nasty, some are highly beneficial, but each of these is a very specific thing where that AI does only that specific thing. And it's been quite interesting to see what sorts of problems are amenable to these kinds of narrow AI techniques. Because what it turns out is, what's really hard for AI so far is understanding the special problem in the broader context, like understanding what is the problem and why are you solving that problem, formulating the problem. That's really hard for AIs. And once you have a sort of precisely specified question and you've gathered together the data pertinent to that question, then AI can solve that in a narrowly specialized way. And what those of us in the artificial general intelligence field are doing is getting back to the original aspiration of the AI field. They're like, now, okay, computers are way faster than they used to be. There's way more data than there used to be. We've developed a whole lot of powerful algorithms and knowledge representations. So can we now, you know, make a serious push toward artificial general intelligence, making AIs that can really generalize like people and deal with unforeseen situations where we don't have an exact program for how to deal with them in our experience. Like all of us learn to deal with the internet, right? I mean, if you're a musician of my generation, you learn to deal with electronic instruments that didn't exist when you started playing, right? So we learned to deal with things our brains were not programmed for, and we weren't taught in school. We just had to adapt and figure it out, which, just like in the current situation, we have to figure out like how to teach our kids and conduct our life in this COVID situation, right? There's no pre-programming for that. Now, AIs so far are not good at dealing with weird, unprecedented situations and being agile and inventing something new on the fly. But you need that to be a truly general intelligence, and I think that's the next frontier in AI, and that's going to be dramatic, right? I mean, you can see in concrete applications of AI, you can see that shortcoming now. Like if you think about in AI for music as one example. Like now you can have AI generated music, and like if I want to generate something that sounds like a boring version of a Bach harpsichord piece or something, you can have an AI model will do that, right? Which is cool. I mean, we have AI models that can generate country songs that if you don't listen too close, they sound like country song you might hear on the radio. We don't have an AI that can invent a new genre of music, though, right? Like say what Fela Kuti did, inventing Afrobeat, which I was a huge fan of in the 70s, or say Hendrix figuring out like you could use distortion to make all these new soundscapes. I mean, there's an AI cannot currently do that, like pull stuff from diverse places and invent a totally new way of organizing sound. But there's no fundamental reason an AI can't do that. Like a general intelligence should do that. And same thing in AI for medicine. You know, we're using AI now to discover cures for diseases, which is really interesting. Like you can sift through all the genetic data better than people can. But to invent the idea of gene therapy or something, right? I mean, that took some foundational creativity that narrow AIs don't have, but that we want to get into our AGIs. And I mean, I've been working on AGI research for many decades, but I feel like now, you know, the processing power and the data and the algorithms and the enthusiasm are coming together, that we're going to see a breakthrough in AGI perhaps in the next, say, 5 years or something. And that, you know, that's exciting, and depending on your risk tolerance can be a bit scary. And that gets into the notion of the singularity, right? Where it's like if AIs really can create and imagine and generalize, will they become smarter than human beings? And if so, you know, are they going to be cooperative with human beings, or are they going to be adversarial to human beings, or totally indifferent to us and just view us as a waste of molecular material, or what, right? So that gets to like who's controlling the AI, who's teaching the baby AI as it gets smarter and smarter, which are all tough questions, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you've mentioned quite a lot of things there around the big questions of, you know, how do we feel about AI as the human race? And so, you know, the questions around, you talked a lot about the limitations of AI itself and the need for a well-defined, I suppose, problem, essentially. So in this whole space of the next 5 years, I mean, I guess this is a question that Janet wants to ask you. So I'll just hand over, because before I get really excited and I just say, oh, I need to ask this question. Janet, please go ahead.
we can ask each other's questions. It's just fine.
Go ahead.
Ben, can we have a little bit of your like futurist, crazy scientist vision on what the world has in store for mankind over the next 5 years, next decade, several decades? You know, if AGI comes along, presumably end all our suffering and bring us fabulous medical solutions, etc. Will we work anymore? What does the future hold?
I mean,
in your crystal ball?
I mean, you know, I think we're at a interesting juncture now when there's a lot of possible futures ahead, and you know, I'm generally an optimist, so I tend to focus on the more positive ones. But of course, looking in the world today, you can see there's negative potentials also, right? So I mean, on the most positive side, I mean, I think if we manage to create AGIs that are much smarter than people and are beneficially oriented toward people, if they feel positively toward people, like many of us humans do toward other humans and toward other animals and plants, right? I mean, then you're going to get a situation where human beings have an amazing array of opportunities at their disposal. So you can as one option, you should be able to live your life as a human, but with complete material abundance. Like just instead of a phone in your pocket, you can have a molecular assembler in your pocket. We just describe what you want and it will synthesize it for you, right? I mean, there's no physics reason you can't do that. Eric Drexler described it in his original book on nanotechnology in the 1980s, right? That's merely an engineering problem, but an AGI much smarter than people could probably solve that as easily we can solve like building a fence or a house or something, which are things that are very hard for dogs or monkeys, but easy for us, right? And building a molecular assembler is hard for us, but maybe easy for an AGI with merely 2 or 3 times human level general intelligence. So then if material work isn't needed, and if physical sickness and mental illness can be cured by little nanobots going into your body and fixing stuff, right? Then humans are free to pursue, you know, social, emotional, spiritual, artistic, intellectual pursuits, right? And I mean, I know I've heard some people say, well, if we don't have to work for a living anymore, our lives will become meaningless. And you know, I have 3 adult kids, range 22 to 30. I find for them and like all their friends in their age group, they're not worried about it. They're like, shit, I don't have to get a job. Great. Like this is that's amazing. I can just do interesting stuff instead. So I mean, there will be a transition period that will be difficult for some people. And I mean, even in this really rosy scenario, of course, you're going to have people whose identity is tied into a job that they do, or their identity is tied into having more resources than other people, and the ego boost they get from that. So, I mean, even in an incredibly rosy scenario, not everyone will be happy, but I think it still is a good problem to have, right? And then, of course, there's even crazier possibilities, like just being human in itself is a limitation. So you imagine you just fuse this thing into your brain and expand your intelligence by a factor of 1,000,000, right? I mean, then of course the downside is you're not human anymore, right? But on the other hand, you may gain astounding new levels of experience, right? Like I often, when I mean I'm a sort of hobbyist musician, which is part of the reason I was interested in this event. So when I'm playing with a sequencer and just sequencing different tracks, I'm very frustrated. I can't listen to 1,000 tracks at once and understand them all, right? Like you listen to like Ascension by John Coltrane. They did at the end of his career. You got like nine amazing jazz guys just jamming semi-independently at once. And you can digest that, but if it was 20, you couldn't digest it, right? Like the human brain, it's not just limited in like problem solving and in mathematical thinking. It's limited in aesthetic appreciation, right? I mean, we're also limited in love and empathy in certain ways. Like I would love to empathize with dolphins better than I can. In a general way, I do, but I can't really understand their life, right? Like I don't know what the dolphin's going through. And so there's a lot of ways we could expand our minds beyond the scope of what it is to be a sort of legacy evolved biological human. And this becomes an interesting choice for people to make. Like at some point, if everything goes well, you know, we'll have a choice. Like, do we remain human in a society of abundance, which will be great, or do we expand our minds sort of beyond the scope of evolved humans? We can listen to 1,000 tracks at once, empathize in depth with every animal, and like prove the Riemann hypothesis in 5 seconds, you know, before breakfast in the morning. But then you're not really a human in any meaningful sense anymore. You're something else. And of course, maybe you could copy and make 2 of you, like what, or many of you. Like one of them becomes one with a superhuman supermind. The other one remains a legacy human being, right? So I mean, legacy human being without death or disease or the need to work for a living. So that's the rosy path. And then the difficult part of it is, I mean, to get there, we need to raise our AGIs in a loving and beneficial way. I mean, I think making an ethical AI isn't so much about the code, because an AGI is going to be a learning system that learns who it is and learns what it is and learns how to interact with the rest of the world by experience. Making ethical AGI is going to be mostly about how do we interact with the AGI? What are we teaching the AGI to do? What feelings do we show to it? How do we encourage it to interact with people, right? And so if you look right now on the planet, most AI is used for what I'd summarized as selling, killing, spying, and gambling, right? So, I mean, if the first AGIs come out of advertising agents, military killer robots, like Wall Street traders and espionage systems, how likely is it that the first AGIs are going to want to usher in an era of, love and abundance and mind and heart expansion for everyone, right? So I mean, we have the potential, I think, to make a sort of utopia, but on the other hand, that's not what most of the AI industry is working on right now, right? So on the one hand, it's really cool that AGI is now taken seriously and AI is a major industry. On the other hand, and it's good that 90% of AI isn't military anymore, as was the case like a couple decades ago. On the other hand, it shifted from military to spying and advertising and to extracting money from the masses to put into wealthy investment funds bank accounts, right? So it's shifted away from killing to other things that are benefiting, small elites and not necessarily being beneficial to the mass of humanity, right? But that can shift, right? Because things can shift very rapidly as technology changes, right? And like just like the whole music business shifted for better and for worse when you have like Napster and BitTorrent and all these things. Like no one in my kids' generation ever pays for music, right? They think it's a very strange idea to pay for. My dad pays for music, but I mean, teenagers don't pay for music a lot. And that, on the one hand, there's more music, right? You can hear amazing stuff, and you can produce your own stuff and put it online, and everyone can listen to it. On the other hand, it's very, very hard to make money from music now, right?
Yeah.
Because of these shifts. But it's a very, very rapid shift, right? And so I think the AI field, you could see very rapidly shift in all sorts of ways. It could shift for the worse, or it could shift into a more sort of democratic, decentralized, and beneficial vein. And how this plays into the developing world is going to be quite subtle. As you mentioned, I co-founded in 2014 Ethiopia's first, and I think still only, AI company, AIKora Labs in Addis Ababa. And the team there has mostly been just doing outsourcing work, like doing AI development work for, they helped build the AI behind the Sophia humanoid robot that we built with Hanson Robotics in Hong Kong. They've helped with the AI for genomic analysis to cure diseases and so forth. But we looked at using AI, to help address various local problems in Ethiopia. And I would still love to do that, but just the infrastructural problems are huge, right? I mean, it's quite difficult to get the advanced technology into the positions where it could help people. And I've visited Addis Ababa a lot of times. You've become aware, like, the educated middle class are basically world citizens, right? So the programmers there are as good or better than anywhere else, and the culture and attitudes are about the same as young hackers in Shenzhen or New York or London or wherever. But you've got all these subsistence farmers with not that much literacy as well, who are not joining the world economy, although they're great people. But what happens as AGI advances and human employment is no longer needed, right? Like what I guess in UK or US, you're going to get universal basic income for everyone. But who gives universal basic income like in rural Ethiopia or Congo or somewhere, right? I mean, that's it's not obvious how the gradual transition will unfold. And if the answer is that people in the developed world will just live taken care of by robots, and then people in sub-Saharan Africa just remain subsistence farming because most of them don't have economic value in the robot economy, that's not going to work, right? Because you're going to have a lot of very active hackers in those countries hacking into the, I mean, apart from the ethical concerns, you're going to have a lot of crazy hackers hacking into the power grid in the developed world, right? I mean, it's not going to be pleasant. So there's the issue of positive versus negative singularity, and then there's the issue of the transitional path, right? And that's I'm optimist pretty much about the positive singularity. Like my gut feel, for what it's worth, is we're going to get to an era of abundance. But looking at what's happening in like politics and economics now, it's hard to be equally optimistic about the incremental path there being like wholly beneficial to all people, because there's so much tribalism and selfishness and so forth. And I mean, that leads on to the SingularityNET project that I'm leading now, and why we formulated that. Because I mean, the goal with SingularityNET is, okay, we're doing all this cool AI R&D and we're doing valuable AI applications, but can we make an AI infrastructure that sort of nudges AI toward democracy and decentralization and broad benefit, and nudges it away from the sort of industry structure where AI is owned by big companies and AI is owned by big governments and everyone else is sort of out in the margins, right? So just like Bitcoin and Ethereum and these cryptocurrencies, these are a decentralized money, right? They're not minted by any government mint. They're not controlled by any government. Bitcoin is controlled by all the Bitcoin holders in the world, right? In the same way, SingularityNET, it's a decentralized AI network where the AI is controlled by everyone who put an AI into the network or uses the AI in the network. And that's a big vision. And then you have to cash that out in terms of specific AIs running in that network doing specific things. So we're putting some of our AGI research code in SingularityNET, which is just trying to learn and generalize and reason in an abstract way. We're doing some things in SingularityNET aimed at medicine, at helping basically gather people's medical data from, say, plugins to their smartphones they have, like a Fitbit or a pulse oximeter. You gather people's medical data, then the AI tries to learn things about health and life from that data, which is then provided as benefits to people who contributed the data. And we're doing AI applications in a variety of areas. And I guess in the context of this event, we decided to show off a fairly simple application of machine learning in music, right? Because we're launching, so far SingularityNET has been mostly for AIs running on like laptops or servers, but we're just now launching Java SDK, a Java software development kit for SingularityNET. So you can make Android applications running on an Android phone that will be part of this like decentralized AI network. And we'll do Apple, we'll do iOS later. We started with Android, and so then as an initial demonstration of the Android interface for SingularityNET, we started playing with the music applications. Actually, we have a series of them in the works, but we'll show off one of them today anyway.
We're going to show off one of those very soon. Thank you so much, Ben. So tune in, everybody. That one, or hang on in there. That one is yet to come. And we've got a very special song for you as well that we're going to be demonstrating this on. And Ben, you just covered so much ground there. Elizabeth, I'm going to give you the next one, whatever you want to cover out of all of that. I know my next one, but see what you've got.
Well, first of all, I want to say to Ben, thanks for going through all that. You know, first of all, it looks like there's this good versus bad, and you mentioned it depends. And it's like, give us some hope, please. And then you do go through, you know, some of the areas that you're trying to achieve. And it is a big vision. You just mentioned how big a vision that is. But if anyone can do it, you can. So this is the space. And then you drop an announcement that you are, you know, you're launching this Java SDK. So we're going to hear much more about that. So that's great. I need to then ask you the question, because, you know, this evening is just a delight to the senses, and it's amazing what the future holds, because definitely. But can you tell us a bit more about trust then, because you did pick up on that a little bit. Data privacy concerns, human self-agency, how we can ensure that AI we develop is benevolent. You know, I guess if I didn't ask that question again, I wouldn't forgive myself. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think we cannot guarantee that AI will be benevolent, right? And I mean, so that's but that's sort of the situation we humans have gotten ourselves into, right? Like I read recently a very interesting book by an Australian Aboriginal guy named Tyson Yunkaporta, named Sand Talk, and he's arguing in essence that from the Australian Aboriginal view, the advent of civilization was not a good thing. Like, people were way happier in the Stone Age society. They had a stable society for 60,000 years. They worked 2 or 3 hours a day and enjoyed themselves most of the rest of the time. And now we've gone and, you know, we've developed written language and mathematics and technology, so we can work 90 hours a week and have neuroses and tormented personal relationships and destroy the environment, right? So, I mean, I don't necessarily fully embrace that point of view, but it's there's some validity to it, right? But the point is, when we transitioned from hunter-gatherer to civilization, we didn't really, our forebears did not do a detailed cost-benefit analysis and make a detailed projection and say, well, you know, if we go with this civilization thing, you know, in 10,000 years, we're going to have like Facebook and differential calculus and Donald Trump, right? I mean, we just advanced because we like to advance and explore new things and have adventures, right? And that seems to be part of who humanity is. We keep plunging into unprecedented new things without any guarantees at all, right? And I mean, it's impressive the Aboriginals had a steady state society for 60,000 years, right? But not everywhere on the planet was like that. There were different just geographical conditions. People were more crowded other places. And the human drive for novelty and invention and exploration, our tendency to get bored with the same old thing, like came up. And, you know, we plunge into civilization, we plunge into industrial revolution, we plunge into computers, and in no case did we have a guarantee, right? And so plunging into AGI, we still have no guarantee. Like, we just muddle through and try to make the best of the chaos that we wreak, right? And that's clearly what's happening now with AI, right? And I think trying to stop AI from advancing isn't going to work, because there's too much money to be made from AI, and there's too much benefit from one country militarily against another from AI. So how are you going to get the powers that be? How are you going to get them to stop developing AI? It's not going to happen. But can we divert AI toward more beneficial things? Well, that's seems more plausible anyway. And I mean, can we can we get more young people who are learning how to develop AI to, maybe accept a slightly lower salary based on the knowledge that they're using AI to do really, really good and helpful things. I mean, that I think is quite possible, and you see a real, social benefit orientation among a lot of the current young generation, which is beautiful to see, right? So I think there is that hope there, but yeah, there's definitely no guarantees, and that's just what it is. It's a little disturbing in a way, but it's better to see what reality is than to make up a narrative like it's all going to be for the best because some guy somewhere in some corporate lab will make sure it's all for the best, right? I don't think it's that kind of situation.
Okay, thank you for picking up on that. So I was going to talk about and ask a question around whether we can eradicate bias and whether AI is going to help us do that. But I think possibly, Janet, we might as well go, there's another question that you could ask there. Do you want to take that?
Well, I'd like to talk about women. Obviously, you've got an all-female tech team here, and Elizabeth running the event tonight. Your own brilliant Ibby Benali doing all the tech for us, and we've got Sarah coming soon, and myself, who I'm an AI expert, particularly ethics of AI in banking. The thing that Jeanette, a lady called Jeanette Winterton, who's a British lady, she famously quoted that AI could be the worst thing that happened to women ever. And when I asked her about this, and I have worked with a group of leaders in the UK, women leaders, who are really concerned about the impact of AI on women, both women in the developed countries, but also women in the poorest and most unstable and most precarious jobs in the world, the 600 million women who do work like, working in sweatshops and the fast fashion industry, agriculture, etc. And women are going to be hit, I reckon, on three levels. One, they haven't got the tech skills, and the new economy, jobs are being created in data and tech, and not in every country, but in many countries, there's a social tendency for girls not to take science and technology subjects and in school if they're lucky enough to live in a country where they do go to school. Secondly, they're going to be busy. They're more likely to be busy looking after children and elderly parents, and they don't have time to reskill. And thirdly, because there isn't one country in the world where women have achieved economic parity with men, they're doing the lowest paid jobs, which are the ones that are most vulnerable to automation. And also, when you talk about how AI is going to feel, it's a stereotype that women have a lot of love and a lot of compassion and a lot of beauty and a real sense of community, and often, bring that sense of community and love. How do we make sure that, because we as leaders have this responsibility, right? We can't just sit back and say, I hope the AI is going to be good. We've got to do something to make it good. How do we bring more women into the industry and address what could be a devastating future for women and make it the opposite?
So I think, there's a lot of valid points there. I think that on the whole, like the differential impact of AI on women versus men is a smaller factor than the overall impact of AI on everyone together, and also a smaller factor than the differential impact on the educated versus less educated people. I think that's really the bigger thing. Like when I look in Ethiopia, which is, apart from China, the developing country I've had the most to do with recently. We had 50% women, 50% men in ICOG in our company there. And but these are middle class women with mostly middle class parents, and they're educated quite well, and they're great software developers, or we wouldn't have hired them. And I've found their economic need cut through a lot of sexism. Like these women's husbands and parents, they were really happy for them to work full time as AI software engineers, because it paid relatively well and had a good future ahead of it. So that it seemed like, yeah, for the women who went to university and got those technical skills, then not that there's no sexism. I'm sure there's sexism hit every step of the way, but there is a reasonable degree of opportunity. Whereas if you don't know English and don't know how to use a computer, and you're a subsistence farmer, I mean, then the difference there is very, very big, right? So that's huge. I'd say, but it's very complex. Like my wife is an AI PhD, actually, and from mainland China, and I'd say in China there's an awful lot of female engineers and programmers in Huawei and Tencent and so forth. Now, there are very few female CEOs of such companies in China, right? But there's a lot of female engineers. And I guess the Chinese system was kind of good at that, because they're determined by exam scores, right? So I mean, my wife is very shy, but she always did really well on tests. So then there you go, right? So it is. I mean, the impact is certainly complicated, but I think, yeah, the U.S. tech business may have a worse problem than many other parts of the world. Actually, certainly worse than China, which is, I think the tech business there is much better in terms of gender equality. So that there's many complicated economic structure issues. So like in US, I would say, like my mom runs social work programs, and my sister's a school principal. Those areas have a lot of women, and they're not going to be obsoleted very quickly. Whereas like all truck drivers will be unemployed soon, which is male dominated, and most manufacturing jobs will go away, which in US has been more men, but not so much in Southeast Asia. So I mean, there will be a complicated differential impact on men and women. But in general, the trend, which is very disturbing, is as technology economy advances, whoever is well off will get better and better and better off relative to everyone else. Whoever is badly off is getting worse and worse and worse off relative to everybody else, right? Like wealth inequality is increasing, income inequality is increasing. The amount of education you need to participate lucratively in the economy is going up. But if you have that level of education, you can do better and better, right? So it's and to the extent that women are disadvantaged, the degree of disadvantage will become greater. To the extent that certain minorities are disadvantaged, that disadvantage is getting greater and greater. And there's sort of cold economic logic behind this, as Piketty wrote about in his book Capital in the 21st Century. I mean, the economics of these phenomena are pretty well understood, and to counteract that, you need to do something quite radical, right? I mean, that's similar to the thinking underlying cryptocurrencies. They're like, well, Federal Reserve of US is corrupt, Chinese government's management of money is corrupt, European Union has no sensible way to manage the euro, so let's make a new currency and just go with it, like straight to the people, which has a mixed record so far, right? Because it's become like a great solution for money laundering and all sorts of nasty things, and hasn't gotten really wide adoption as an everyday currency. But the motivation there, I think, is absolutely correct, right? And I think that the same is true with peer-to-peer music sharing. I mean, the many problems with how that's evolved. To some extent, it's it's theft and artists aren't getting compensated. On the other hand, it's a radical shift to put things in the hands of the people and away from a few elite parties who are extorting value from the people, right? So this sort of shift to a decentralized sort of power to the people way of doing things, that's apart from a benevolent dictator emerging and taking over for everyone's good, which isn't going to happen, right? I mean, the shift to a decentralized mode of organization seems like the best hope for counteracting, gender bias, racial bias, and the sort of economic class bias, which I think is probably the hardest one to deal with. But it's an uphill battle, right? Like none of these examples of decentralized peer-to-peer alternatives are wholly successful yet by any means. I mean, they're all also very problematic and limited.
Ben, it's just brilliant that we have you actually doing something about it. Thank you. And I do agree. The inequalities, all inequalities need to be addressed. And it's brilliant that you've actually got a viable alternative to how the world runs today that can help to address that.
We're trying to build a viable alternative. And I think anyone who's listening to this who wants to help out, you can contact us in SingularityNET, and certainly whether in our project or in other sort of decentralized beneficial AI projects, like we can, we definitely need more people working on democratizing AI.
More people, more
like
amazing ladies.
Bias in AI gets a lot of news. Unfortunately, that's a small part of the problem, right? Because it's true, AI is trained to be racist and sexist and nationalist and unpleasant in all sorts of ways. But probably a bigger problem is that most of the AI on the planet is being used to brainwash people into mindless consumerism, to spend all their time working to earn money to buy shit they don't need that won't make them happy, right? I mean, that's their underlying. And so doing that in an unbiased way is better than doing it in a biased way. But it would be even better if the AI were being used for more beneficial purposes than brainwashing people to buy useless things, right? So there's so many layers of problems that you would definitely need a lot of people participating to work through all of them. And I think we need people with many different backgrounds coming into it. And music, which is much of the theme here, I mean, music is more and more of a technological, computer-based, internet-based thing now. Everyone's doing electronic music, and now people even have to jam over the internet in many places because they can't. They're not allowed in the same room together, right? So I mean, I think there's going to be opportunities for people in the music sphere and the arts and everywhere to just have a mind toward broad benefit, democracy, decentralized participation in what they do with technology.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. You're bringing us back to music. We are, of course, a festival, an AI and West African Music Festival, and we are approaching our first music interlude. But if I just make, so we cover some really quite serious topics, one final quick fire question, Ben, before we move into introduce you to Nick and Jolly Kevasuso. Aliens. Did we discover, this is your question, Gwen, you asked, isn't it?
It's just really, again, I think this week scientists discovered evidence of possible life on Venus. So really, it was like, did you ever doubt that? Do you think that there are going to be, there are more alien species out there around us now? How would you know what a superior intelligence even looks like anyway? What? So that it just
we may unveil my colleague Ibby as an alien on this show. We'll see. Right? Yeah, or maybe that's for next year. But yeah, I mean, I think
for next year.
I often think that I have two dogs, two toy poodles, and they sit and watch me type on the computer, and they have no idea what the hell I'm doing, right? They don't know that I'm talking to people halfway around the world or controlling computer hardware elsewhere in the world. They think I'm sitting there like guarding my monitor and wiggling my fingers for no good reason. So there's all sorts of things right around those dogs that they're completely ignorant of because of their limited way of thinking and level of intelligence, right? So I mean, I think in the same way, an AGI that's 5 times as generally intelligent as humans, it may see so many aspects of this universe that we're not currently able to perceive. I mean, there might be super intelligence around us all the time that we're totally unaware of. Like if you think about it, as an alien AI got smarter and smarter, to get more and more efficient, we'd want to downsize its processing to be more and more compact. So then maybe ultimately alien civilizations have downsized themselves to the level of elementary particles. And what we think are random quantum fluctuations in elementary particles are actually the thoughts of like way like nano-sized, pico-sized superhuman aliens, right? I mean, we don't know, we can't know. And probably whatever we understand once we're 5 times as smarter due to AGI upgrades, probably it'll be way weirder than anything I'm thinking of now. But I'm guessing there are many forms of intelligence in the universe besides us, and a singularity may not just be upgrading our intelligence or that of our machines, but it may be a matter of making us smart enough to see other intelligence that's ambient in the universe and has no interest in communicating with primitive beings such as current humans, right? So that's it's harder to make a movie about than bug-eyed aliens landing in a spaceship, but maybe the aliens are just more likely to be off in some other direction we're not thinking of now, which is not much to do with life on Venus, but who knows what life on Venus is either, right? I mean, there could be an intelligent, like self-organizing molecular network brewing in the clouds there, which is a totally different type of intelligence than we're used to thinking about. This is what Stanislaw Lem foresaw in his novel Solaris, which is about an intelligent ocean on some other planet, right? And I mean, the key thing he had there was the key point he was making there is our way of thinking about intelligence may be very limited, and there may be intelligences out there that go beyond the mold of like one mind controlling one physical solid object that moves around among other solid objects. But yeah, there's a lot of cool directions we could go in there, but I guess we're going to get back to the
we're coming on to the
practical and physical on this earth, and propagating sound waves through the atmosphere and so forth.
So thanks, Ben. That's like a mic drop moment just right there. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. I'll hand over to Janet. Amazing.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Gorgeous to see you. We'll see you again at the end to say goodbye and thank you. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, Dr. Elizabeth Shaw. Right, so we're now moving into an interlude space. We've got a musical interlude, and we're also going to be speaking after our music to our very special AI and AIKora Fest designers. So I would like to introduce you and our audience to our 2 wonderful musicians who have created a creation especially for tonight and especially for the AIKora Fest. So I'm going to introduce you to our regulars, festival regulars, all know Jali Kevasuso. Hey Jali, Nice to see you. Welcome back to AIKora Fest. Jali Kebasuso is from a long lineage of 74 generations of West African griot, which is a musician, a historian, and handed down composer, songwriter, and lineage which has been handed down over 1600 years to play the kora. And I really, really doubt whether there will ever be an AI that can generate music like Jali Kebasuso, strings on fire. This is Jali. He also created the first London Afro electronic live band. So we're going to have more from Jali later. But as a special collaboration just for AIKora Fest, we're very, very graced to have the company of Nick Patton with us tonight, who was introduced to me as a potential collaborator for this festival. Nick is a Cape Town-based composer, producer, and multi-instrumentalist. He might show us some of his multi-instruments in his room there behind him, who his scores have appeared in numerous films, documentaries, music videos, and commercials. Nick works with production libraries in the UK, Germany, Sweden, Australia, and South Africa, and he has over 30 published albums. And so, especially for us tonight, as Ben has said, we're going to be launching some very cool music-related app, a very cool app later in the evening. And as a special production for tonight, Nick and Jali have collaborated to bring us their song Gallenlay, which we're going to play for you. So Jali will say hi to you a little bit later. Nick, would you like to tell us about Gallenlay? Tell us how you have developed the sound, how you put it together as a production, working together with Jali.
Yes, thanks very much, Janet. It's been a great privilege to work with Jali, not just because he's a great guy and a fellow African, but also for the reasons that you've mentioned. This idea of our history going back so far is quite foreign to most of us who've been brought up in the European tradition with a much shorter sense of history. So this is a typical, in the last 6 months or so, collaborations that have been remote, not based on people being in the studio at the same time, have begun to mature and flourish. And so Gallenlay is an example of us being on different continents and yet being able to produce something in common. So the collaboration side of it's very important, and I've been immensely gratified to be able to be part of it.
Thank you so much. It's been absolutely brilliant to work with you. You two never even met each other 5 weeks ago, and yet you've produced this beautiful, warm, emotive, multifaceted, multi-influence piece of music, which I'm so proud for us to be releasing here tonight for the first time. Jali, anything to add on Gallenlay and your collaboration with Nick?
Just a pleasure to work with Nick as well. He's a level-headed guy, so which makes life always easy to be able to not be in the same room with somebody at the same time and be like, yo, here, and what do you think? Here, you run your thing, and then something comes back to you, and you're like, oh, okay. So the guy knows what he's doing, so it's really amazing thing to just like, okay, he knows what he's doing, and, he works, check what will work, and really work it in a very simple and easy to explain, which is, I think that's what we were trying to look for, something that is, because this is a starting of something, but.
That is... Sorry, Nick.
No. I think it's been a fascinating coming together of Jali's virtuosity and his Jali status as a representative of a very long tradition, and then I took much more of a technical role. I played some of the background instruments, but really it's his musical genius that is on show here. So maybe we should play it.
Let's play it. I think it's both of you musical genius. It's a beautiful, beautiful track. The name, Gallen-Lay, as Jelly says, it's the start of something. Gallen-Lay is an adaptation of an Irish word, a Gaelic word for dawn, which is Fáinne Gallen-Lay. And we shortened it. So it's the bright day. It's the bright start of the bright day. And that's what we're seeing, and that's what we're here for today. We're going to play the song now. You will see a mountain scene, and I'm wondering how many of our viewers will actually recognize those mountains. So if you recognize the mountains, make a comment. If you love the music, please consider, if you're inspired, a donation in the Just Giving link. Thank you, everyone. Ivy, over to you. Roll it there, Colette, which is what we say in Ireland when we mean let's play the video.
All right, playing the video now. I'm just muting all participants to prevent an echo, and then the video will start.
Alaleake, 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 alaleake. Korale nata, korale, korale nata, korale, korale nata. Kukutolle nata jamano kambi, 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 kukutolle nata jamano kambi. Benkutole nata jamano kambi, kukutole bota. Kora korale, kora korale, kora korale. Korale, korale. Yena nakora natale, yena kora natale, yena nakora natale. AIKora Natale.
That is a song which I love more and more every time I hear it. Thank you so much, gentlemen. That was absolutely beautiful. Gallen-Lay, everybody. Beautiful song from Jelly and Nick. Thank you, gents. Now, next person I would like to introduce you to, hopefully he's here, is Murad Ural. Murad, are you around? We Think Design. Hey, Murad, how gorgeous to see you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And good evening to Lille. You're in Lille in France. So Murad Ural is a designer and in Lille for a company called We Think Design. His designs are extraordinary, and he very, very kindly created the AIKora Fest, the beautiful designs which really took our vision for the festival to a whole new level and created a beautiful background that we could be extremely proud of. And our AIKora Fest followers have been commenting on how beautiful these are. And so, Murad, I know you were part of Lille City of Design last week and have been recognized as one of France's premier designers. We're very grateful to you for your commitment and your generous gifts. And thank you for joining us today to talk us through your inspiration for the festival and your designs.
Thank you very much, Janet. Sorry to read about a little text that I thought about, and sorry for my French-English accent. That is
nothing to be sorry for at all. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, so happy to be part of you and this wonderful project. Really, when you talk Ali Ben Fatoum, and I thank you also, and you told me about the fact that you were making a festival, joining African music to AI. I thought I was dreaming, because all my life I've dreamt of things that not only folklore and science and technology, and you succeeded to mix both of them. AIKora Festival, I thought the subject matter totally original, dealing with AI and traditional African music. For what a very interesting leitmotif to show that things are linked. Ben Goertzel told, and I'm very honored to be part of a team. Ben Goertzel said, propagating sound waves to the atmosphere. Really, I wouldn't have thought about a best introduction to my purpose, because it was really the sense of what I've done in my design. I'm beginning to show the design I wanted to show you. It was all about scale, of course. Everything is about scale. And I have thought about making a design of kora strings and what could be a propagation of waves, sound waves, vibration, and linked to the shim of AI intelligence. I thought it was a very good mean to talk about AI and AIKora Festival. As for us, everything is undulations. We are living between minus infinity and between plus infinity. And humanity is inside, in the middle of this world. I wanted to show that music was the best way, as for me, to show the undulation between these two concepts that are minus and plus and infinities. Design needs to have sense to support about a very big sense, not only pictures, not only good colors, good designs. Design is about sense. And we are very, very, very close to making things that can live alone, as it was AI system. So that the design has to be something moving, living. You can use it, you can transform it, you can throw it or not using it. What was very important about AIKora Festival, to make new structures of reading music and enjoying design of what could be an interpretation of AI language. What I could say about it, about the design, I was very happy to work with you.
Oh, Murad, these are just such an inspiring and beautiful treat for our eyes. we've only just started to see your designs on the festival so far. These are extremely beautiful. And I absolutely love what you say about what would the language of AI look like if we created a language of AI, and the emergence of your amazingly beautiful designs into something very, very new, yet retaining a history from the ancient string instrument of the kora. They're very, very beautiful. Thank you. It's all about scale.
Hello, everyone. Well, it gives me a great pleasure to speak to Ben further, and thank you again, Murad, for the amazing designs. And actually start asking a couple, just maybe let's just recap, Ben, because obviously I was listening before, but some users might have missed it. And this is really relevant. So I actually started off life as a Java developer myself. So actually you launching on the Java SDK brings me a whole load of joy. But maybe let's just recap with like a one-liner, because it leads into some of the other questions. You know, what is the Singularity Net decentralized network? You know, what is it? How does it work? And then the second question.
Yeah, so SingularityNET it's a protocol that lets AIs provide services to users and lets the creators of the AIs get paid for the services their AIs provide. And it also lets AIs talk to each other and outsource work to each other and exchange data with each other. So SingularityNet is agnostic with regard to what AI algorithm you use or what application your AI is trying to serve. It's communication protocol that lets multiple AIs, wherever they may live, talk to each other, collaborate with each other. So you could think like BitTorrent is a peer-to-peer decentralized protocol for swapping files around, but files just sit there and don't do anything unless you load them into some application, right? SingularityNet is a decentralized peer-to-peer protocol for AI programs that are running and doing things and getting paid for doing these things and sending data around to each other. And so then, of course, the other difference is like a song on my BitTorrent and a song in your BitTorrent don't talk to each other, right? But the AI on my machine, the AI on your machine, they can actively talk to each other. So that's a sort of almost internet plumbing level type of thing, right? And then on top of that, we built a SingularityNet marketplace, which is like an app store for AI services. So you can go there and find different AI services doing things you want. But on the back end, like we're not hosting every AI in that app store on our own server. Those AIs could live anywhere and they're all communicating by this decentralized protocol. So as a programmer, I mean, pretty much SingularityNet, it's a bunch of Docker containers, right? Or Alex, you put your AI in the container, there's a sort of sidecar proxy. There's some code that sits next to it, which has some Ethereum smart contracts. And those smart contracts written in Solidity language let the different Docker containers all talk to each other. Now, what's new that we're announcing today is just we've extended that network to Android phones, right? I mean, the point of using Java in this case was that the Java is the core language of Android. So by supporting Java, you can have AIs participating in this decentralized AI network that run on an Android phone, and then we'll later have to do Objective-C, so you can support iPhone apps also. And I mean, the original vision, of course, the AIs in the Singularity network should be able to run on every kind of phone. They should be able to run on your smart pacemaker if you want, right? They should be able to run everywhere. But IT being what it is, you got to go step by step. And the step that we've done now is to get to Android apps, which approximately phone is the main application, but of course you have Android and all sorts of other embedded devices also. So it also lets us extend a little further into the IoT, Internet of Things space.
Well, and as I'm so glad you explained that, because that makes my life easier when I'm trying to talk in between the music segment as I play the video. But I do want to ask just before, so I'm a chess fan as well. Maybe do you have a favorite app on your AI marketplace? Because obviously for those who might be stuck in COVID alone, obviously you can play against a reinforcement algorithm. And another one that I like is the style transfer, where you can like take, say a drawing and then another image and actually take the style from one image to another. Do you have any ones that you might want to suggest?
Actually, the only app on there I actually use is the gene annotation app, which is not that, most people aren't going to use that too often, because like you'll get your DNA sequenced by 23andMe once, right? It will be the same. But yeah, because I do a lot of research applying AI to genomics, like you run machine learning on DNA data, you get some genes. You're like, well, these genes are important for helping people live to 105 years old. These genes determine whether chemotherapy or radiotherapy will work better for your breast cancer. Then if you get a list of genes that seem important to a certain problem, the gene annotation app on the SingularityNET marketplace lets you understand what's known about those genes, basically. So it sort of combines information from a lot of biology databases. So that, I mean, if you're not doing functional genomics or bioinformatics, not that useful, but that actually is the app that I actually use fairly often on there. But there's a lot of interesting things on there. Actually, the app that we're about to launch here, I've also been using that software just for my own screwing around with electronic music also. So that's another cool one.
Well, perhaps that's a great link back to the app itself. So maybe it's time to play the video, and I'll voice over it if you're happy. Or Janet, I don't know if you have any questions. I can see you back now.
Thanks. Sorry, I left you guys there for a moment. Looks like you've been doing great without me, Sarah. Listen, did anyone introduce you, Sarah? Do we know who you are?
No, I was just the random entity who joined, but they do know I'm a Java developer at a minimum.
And a super cool girl coder. Right, so I'd just like to introduce Sarah. Sarah is the Global Data and AI Director at Avanade. She is listed as one of the top 100 most influential women in 2019 and 2020 in the UK. Inclusion. She's also a huge inclusion and diversity champion, as we all are here today. She's also an African Studies and Anthropology graduate and arts and music lover. Previous advisor to the government on AI in the APPG AI, and board member to Develop Her, which is a women in tech community. And as she showed us in AIKora Fest 1, she once carved her own African drum in Ghana as part of her study. So Sarah's hugely well qualified and my fabulous co-founder for AIKora Fest. The other thing I just want to say before we roll the video is that, to me, it's a really giant step for mankind. It's the first app of SingularityNET that is being launched here tonight. And we've talked about emergence of consciousness, emergence of AGI, emergence of benevolent AI. There's no pun there, is there, Ben? Benevolent AI. And I'm really, really proud to be here for this moment with Galen Lay while we launch SingularityNET's first app, which will hopefully give rise to a bright new dawn with the evolution of AGI.
I think I only wish that the SingularityNET marketplace had been open when I was studying my degree and able to access all the amazing things there. But what it's amazing, as Janet raised and Ben actually in the intro, is the availability of it to now about 2.5 billion Android customers through the Google Play Store. So if you guys want to download Song Splitter, which we're going to shortly demo, please access it now. I don't know, Ben, if there's any other points you want to highlight. I know that the developers, I think it's Vitaly Bogdanov and Maxim Peterson worked on it, but any other credits you want to just say thanks to the launch, or anyone you want to flag? Because I know you've got an amazing team. behind you.
Yeah, I mean, we leveraged open source code created by a bunch of others, and then our team in St. Petersburg, Russia, which is led by Alexei Potapov, who is sort of the leading light of AGI in Russia. So Alexei's team, including Vitaly and Maxim, put this together. Tim Richmond, who works with us in UK, who's an excellent electronic musician himself, had a hand in putting it together. And Ibby, of course, who is also helping with this event, has helped to get everything moving toward launch. But there's been a big team on the SingularityNET side with more people than I want to take time to name now. But we're even more excited about the users of the app and the cool things that can be done with it. And there's, for anyone who's a developer, there's a long list of other cool things that could be done beyond the simple function in the initial version of the app. So I mean, code is open source. We'd love to see people doing more and more funky things with AI for music on SingularityNET, right? I mean, genetics, medicine, health, all these things are also important. But I mean, music is important for the health of the mind and soul of people, right? So I mean, getting more people improving the app in the next stages should be very important too.
Perfect. Well, I think it might be time now, and Janet, correct me, because otherwise I'll happily just carry on asking Ben questions all night to play the video.
We can both ask questions to Ben all night. Time for the video.
Thank you so much, Ben. I don't know, Ibby, if you're going to work your magic and help me play the video while I talk. And apologies to any users who may hear me talking while there's music playing, because it pops up every now and then. So I've got to time it well to balance it between me explaining it and also not talking over the beautiful music that's been split into vocals and instrumentals in the background. But just to recap, obviously this is available now via Android apps. So please go to Google Play and download it. If not, there's obviously a press release coming out about it, so you can read up more about it in SingularityNET. So I hope you guys are all doing so. And Ibby, you can give me the green light of when the video starts playing. Beautiful. So this is what it will look like if you've downloaded it. Some of you could actually do it in real time now if you so wish, and go and download the app. As Ben highlighted, the beauty about it is it's now available on Android, and that opens up to, I think it's 2.5 billion Android customers. So, and one of the cool parts is obviously Galilei. Now, obviously, that was the full track, and we've started the splitting. So behind the scenes, they're using like a kind of Python and TensorFlow algorithms there, but that's all made simple for you. And they're dividing it into two stems, but other stems are available. And what that will be, the vocals and then the instrumentals. So you'll have Jali's amazing vocals, then split. Also, you'll have Nick's amazing vocals secondly. So once it's finished the splitting, it will appear on screen. So it will load shortly, as we can see. And then what you can then do is test out how it's divided the vocals and just double check you're happy with the So there you go, Jali's beautiful vocals. If only my voice sounded that beautiful. And here we have Nick's amazing accompaniment or instrumentals in the background. So that's just a quick demo of the Song Splitter app, available now, as we said, on the Google Play Store, but it's really highlighting how accessible it's now becoming. So, and I think it's a fantastic job by the whole team. And Ben highlighted just a few people who's enabled us to promote it. But thank you to the amazing musicians who let us try it out. Thank you to the developers who also built that beautiful app and we've got to launch it, and all the people behind the scenes who did that amazing job. I don't know whether I have more time to ask Ben questions, Janet, or if I should actually.
You can have another one, maybe two. Go on.
Oh gosh, well, I guess Ben, is there anything in the pipeline that you can give any teasers for, or is that asking too much? I don't know. I know I want to get everyone to download the app right now who uses Android, but any other kind of cool things you've been working on that you might want to just teaser or say, well, could be coming soon? Or it's on mute. Oh, sorry, Ben.
All right. We got a lot of very cool things on the pipeline, and yeah, we're going to be making an announcement in a few more weeks on something pretty exciting in the robotics space, actually, which is a completely different direction than music. But the beauty of the decentralized AI mind is you can serve every vertical market, right? Because AI is intelligence, general intelligence by its nature. It's not restricted to any one area. But yeah, this will not be the last music related app that we launch. Actually, we've been looking at a bunch of other interesting things. I mean, ranging from AI for algorithmic composition of music to tools to make it easier for musicians to interact remotely with each other. So there's going to be a bunch more cool things, but we'll give those announcements when the time comes.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Ben. Oh, look, I think it's been a delight presenting it. Thank you so much to Jali Nick, obviously, for the music. Thank you also to Murad, whose beautiful designs we saw before, who actually are on our website, and all of the SingularityNET team, because, this has been only possible thanks to you guys and all our team behind the scenes, also from, Omar to Ali, and even Elizabeth and Janet, who've been hosting tonight. So thank you. And I'll pass back to Janet, and thank you, Ben, again.
Oh, thanks a lot. This has been a lot of fun, and I just wish we could do all this face to face. I mean, it's great that the internet exists, so we can do this online. But I mean, people in a physical space listening to music together is just a lot more fun. So hopefully next year we can do something like this. That way, once COVID has been squashed.
I'm super excited.
Brilliant. Yeah, me too. That's brilliant. You've already volunteered to come to AIKora Fest 2021 in real life. Thank you, Ben.
Brilliant.
And the best part of the evening is yet to come. So thanks, Sarah. That was really, really amazing and masterful. And congratulations, Ben, and congratulations, Tim, and congratulations all the team on the launch of that app. I hope everybody's enjoying it now as we speak and downloading it and using it. Brilliant job.
Yeah.
So we're now moving into the final closing session, which is, of course, the best part, which is, of course, the music. And so, Ben, before you disappear off there too fast, we're going to introduce you to Jali Kevasuso, and we're going to introduce our viewers to Jali Kevasuso. Jali, you coming on to say hi? Jali, hello, fabulous to see you again. Thank you so much for coming on. Delighted to introduce you to Ben, who Fela Kuti, I mean, father of Afrobeat, right? And Jali is a huge proponent and one of our foremost innovators in Afrobeat, I think, in the world. And Ben, when we first talked about AIKora Fest, you were so kind to come straight back within an hour and sign up for Kora Fest. Thank you. But you mentioned Ethio jazz. You have a particular love of Ethio jazz, and you work there with a very famous musician who I think Jali knows.
Mulato Astatke. Yeah, we had the privilege to introduce Mulato Astatke to our Sophia robot in Addis Ababa one time, and that was amazing. That's in the Hotel Guion in Addis. So yeah, I love that music, but yeah, I grew up with Fela Kuti, but I mean, I'd listened to what Sonia Jobarta and other Gambia Kora music
Yes.
as well. So I mean, it's all amazing stuff, and yeah, this would be more fun face to face, but it's great to hear the new music online as well.
It's not the same, huh?
It's not the same.
No. That's we have to be thankful to the internet though, but it's just a different different. You have to connect now in a very different way.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll be back to face soon, right? But
thank you.
I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad you guys are doing this benefit to sort of help out a little bit with the situation musicians are in. Because I have a bunch of friends who are musicians here in U.S. I'm living now on an island off the coast of Seattle, and like all the clubs are shutting down in Seattle because they can't do gigs and they can't pay their rent, right? So I mean
things have been shut
it's a tough situation, right?
Things have been shut here since March.
Yeah.
Since March everything has been dead until I now think things are starting to look 1, 2, but even that we are not sure because people are talking about the second wave and stuff, so everybody is sitting on edge, really.
Yeah, China, things are pretty much back to normal, so that they did get through it. Like they opened school in China, and the jazz clubs in Beijing are open again, right? So I mean, you can see that they did get through it. So we can see it does go away, like even without a vaccine, right? So it is possible. But it's amazing we got events like this to sort of help out in the interim anyway.
That's a very good news because we're getting confused of sitting in one place.
Yeah,
we are really getting confused. It's getting really frustrating for us because we are very social beings, and if you keep us in a lockdown for this long, after I've been in one country for 6 months now. I think it's been like 15 or 20 years since I spent 6 months without like traveling internationally, like let alone staying in my house all the time. It's not normal, right? But at least you can still make music anyway. So
look, I Jali is such a lovely, wonderful friend of mine, and it's been a real pleasure and a real privilege to run this program with Jali. And thank you, Ben. I guess we'd never have met you if it wasn't. Well, we have met you before, some of us, but we wouldn't have had this opportunity to bring you together with us and Jali, and if it hadn't been that the situation demanded it. And COVID-19 is a time that just demands a response, and I've just been extraordinarily lucky, privileged, honoured, pleased to work with Jali, Nick, and the rest of the team who we'll talk about afterwards. So listen, I think it's time. Jali and his trio have created some brand new music, more brand new music for tonight. They made a recording. It's not going to be live because that carries some technical difficulties, but it is a brand new and one and only one-off recording from Jali and his team.
It's been pre-recorded today, so it's been pre-recorded earlier on today. So you guys this is for the finale of the AIKora Fest, and yeah.
So I'm very proud, very privileged, very pleased, and very excited to introduce Jali Kevasuso and his trio in a specially recorded recording. It's about 20 minutes long, if anyone's wondering how the evening is panning out from here. And we really look forward to it. And we'll see you all for a special goodbye at the end.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Welcome to the last run of the first audition of AIKora. as I promised you guys, I'm gonna give you something different for this night, Thursday the 17th of September with Ben the Genius. Yes, on my right here you have Nimon bass, and on drums you have the capable Juba guiding the rhythms tonight. We're gonna take it nice and slow. This song is from my second album, Niñatora. Yes, I people. Yes, people. That was Nina Tola. And the next one will go to Wuludula. Wuludula is coming in the next album, which is this is your preview.
Moji baba moji bingele bonotaba. Sine moji baba moji bingele bonotaba. Yes, AIKora.
That was amazing.
Thank you so much, Ivy. Wasn't it amazing? I just want to keep on going. Yay. Fabulous, fabulous, Jali Kebasuso. Ben, are you ever going to have an AGI that can play the Kora and event music like that? You're disappearing on us. Is that a no?
Seems to disappear into a starship.
Disappearing into the bridge of the Enterprise. That's right. I see. Is he bringing us something back?
I'm sure. I'm sure with the
go.
amazing team he's got, they can.
I'm sure they can.
Sorry, could you please repeat that?
Ben, we just asked, are you ever going to make an AGI that can make music like Jali Kebasuso?
Well, not exactly like him, but I would like the AI to make its own music out of its own heart and mind. What I would like to do is make an AI that can jam with Jali Kebasuso, where they're both vibing off each other, right? I mean that's what'll be really fun.
I am looking forward to that festival. Which AIKora Festival will that be? If this is 2020, which one will that be?
Maybe a few more years, but not that long.
2020. Go on, give us a number.
2023. There we go.
No way. No way. Okay. We're going to hold you to that one, Ben Gertels. Right. AIKora Fest 2023, AGI, jamming along with Jali Kebasuso.
That I want to be there face to face. Absolutely. That's totally. Even if the AI doesn't have a face, right? But yeah, that should be fantastic.
That will be fantastic. We'll do that somewhere amazing. Hey, everybody, get your tickets now. AIKora Fest 2023. We're going to have AI, but we're going to have 2021 and 2022 in the meantime. Our lovely AIKora fans have already been asking what we're going to do next. We're interested in health tech we haven't covered, ag tech we haven't covered. There's so much that we need to cover. So listen, that's been completely amazing. Thank you so much, Jali, and your trio. Fabulous concert, loving your music. We're getting lots of comments. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing, Jali? He's a Suso. He knows what he's doing. Good job, Jali. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, you're right, Maura. Big clap for Jali. Big clap for Jali. It was Suso and your fabulous trio. So people are asking where they can get your albums, Jali.
They can go straight to Bandcamp, or they can go to CD Babies. But if they want something quick, let them go. I would say go to Bandcamp. Get your albums from Bandcamp. You're getting it directly.
Bandcamp, and of course, get Jali's albums there. They're all amazing. I think you have a new album coming soon as well, Jali?
Yes, but this new album, I want the fans to take it out. I don't want to take it out this time. I want the fans to bring this new album out.
Okay.
So I am pulling with the agents, but I think I just want to keep it in-house. So I want the fans to take it out instead of, like what Ben was saying earlier on, music has changed now. And instead of being, you can control most of your rights because how things have unfolded at this moment. So, but that was not our situation. You know, it was always you need a big firm to be able to be out there. If you don't have, even now, it's still the same. You need a very. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you don't have that backing behind you, it's not gonna. You're not gonna. You know, you're not gonna be out there. You know, you need, because you need media, you need everything. So it becomes like is you have to be solid not only in your talent. It's a shame, but there's some people will tell you even talent is not enough anymore.
Well, hopefully with blockchain and a decentralized future, we can start to address some of these issues that artists are facing today. So listen, folks, I'm just going to say a very big round of thank you to a few people, so bear with me. Firstly, I'd really like to thank the SingularityNET team. We've got lovely Tim Richmond, who's been completely amazing. Hi, Tim, there from the Golden Gate Bridge. Thank you so much for all your support with the announcements, the social media, the press release, and masterminding this whole event. So super thanks to you. Super thanks to amazing Idi Ben Ali for taking over all of the technology streaming work for us, because that's been pretty hard work, and absolutely supporting us from the very beginning and being such an inspiring woman to work with. We've massively enjoyed working with you. And thank you also to Marcello on PR, who brought us all together in the first place and helped us conceive of how AIKora Fest could meet Singularity Song Splitter app, and you know, it all just got magic and emerged from there. So thank you so much to the SingularityNET team first. I feel like super cool from having spent the week hanging out with you guys. You're all totally fabulous to be with, be around, work with. Really, really grateful to you for your support. Thank you. My next thank you is to our loyal and dedicated AIKora fan following. You guys have all been fantastic. I'm getting all your messages through tonight. You've followed us from 1, 2, 3, 4. You're encouraging us to go into more. You've generously donated and you've made this festival a success. And we couldn't have done any of it without you. And really, really grateful to you. Thank you. We definitely, like AIKora Fest 2023 is the one that we're all shooting for now, but we've got 2021 and 2022 to enjoy in the meantime, hopefully face to face as well. And that's a promise to those of you who have been saying, Janet, you do have to do another one. We will do another one. That's a promise. Of course, I need to thank my very, very beautiful, talented, amazing friend, Jali Kevasuso, for his inspiration, for bringing a whole different sense of real, cool, fabulous music, and being the beating heart of our festival here. So
amazing team that's behind. So I'm a little micro of it. There is so much work behind the team, and so much thanks to you, Janet, as well, because this idea wouldn't flourish without you, because you come to me with something that is very passionate, and so it's very important that we also give credit where credit is due. And you've been really, 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 really inspirational, and it's been really amazing to see how you work and how you try to put different connection in this, and you have managed to bring in different heads, and that is just thank you to you, and thank you to everybody else that people are not seeing that much, which I know you're gonna come to all of them one by one, but I cannot just, so I can't take the credit alone. The credit is good.
Thank you so much for that.
So very well said. So well said.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Jali, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful friend. Thank you so much. Right, so on the musical front, thank you so much to Nick Patton as well. Never met Nick before 4 weeks ago, and then suddenly he's just created this incredible piece of music, which I can't stop listening to, which has helped Ben and his team to launch their app here tonight, and really brings a very bright new future in collaboration between yourself and Jali. So super grateful to you for coming in support of AIKora Fest as soon as you heard about it, which I really appreciate. Thank you so much indeed. Right, so that's fans, that's Jali, that's Nick. I really want to thank our supporters on social media, so Jay Poulter, Victor Cruz, Joanna Wright and Josephine Gallagher, who did an amazing job helping us put together the marketing materials and copyright for this. So you guys have been amazing, and again really helped to generate interest in what's such an important thing, I feel. Of course, my amazing AIKora Fest team, starting with my beautiful co-founder Sarah Wrench. First person I knew I had to speak to Sarah. Only time I've been to London this year was to see Sarah, to have dinner. Yeah, I know, Sarah's amazing. Picked it straight up and ran with it, and actually in the car on the way up to speak to Sarah, spoke with Elizabeth, who's been a really strong supporter and inspiration right throughout this whole event. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Both beautiful, amazing ladies.
Thank you for giving us such an amazing platform to launch our app and talk about our work. I mean, I couldn't imagine a cooler group of people and such awesome music and everything. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
And just wrapping up the rest of the Kora Fest team. Obviously, Ali, Ben Fatoum, not with us tonight, the entire technical mastermind of the whole event, and introduced us to beautiful, amazing Murad with your stunning designs and inspiring insights into the cosmos and music and data and art. So thank you so much, Murad, and my lovely Omar, who is there to help us anything that we needed. Omar, done a brilliant job. Thank you so much. You did. Love you, all my lovely team. I'd like to thank all our speakers. So Neil Macken from Amazon Web Services, Professor Philip Treleaven from UCL, wonderful Clara Derodier from Cognitive Finance, Professor Hani Hagras, my own professor from University of Essex, and Gilbert Owusu from BT, who all did absolutely amazing job. And finally, last person to thank is, of course, your very good self, Ben, for supporting this festival from the minute it was conceived right until now, and all the way to 2023.
All right, yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, and looking forward to next year's as well as 2023. So
we're ready to go. We're ready to go. All right, thank you all, folks. It's been amazing. Especially thanks to all our viewers. JustGiving.com. If you're inspired, please do donate. All of our efforts are here to support artists, because there are those of us who can keep working in COVID-19, and there are those of us who can't. And we're here to support those of us who can't, our beautiful artists. Thank you, Ibby. We're over and out. Thank